Hey, scribes! Welcome. It is Wednesday. And I just have to share before we get into it. I was having a Jesus, why art thou forsaking me moment right now. We are like in the middle of redecorating the house. And so I couldn't find my Ethernet cord to hardwire into the Wi-Fi. And I just was like, okay, everyone has moved my stuff. And that's not a good look when you're trying to go live, right? At a certain time. So I'm a few minutes behind schedule, but I'm here nonetheless. So welcome. Today we're going to be talking about setting and achieving our 2019 writing goals. And it's kind of a perfect segue. Hey, Ashley. It's kind of a perfect segue, especially because you guys just finished my Write or Die survey. So thank you very much for that. And so now I got to find out what you're working on. Hey, Jean, what you're working on, what you want to be working on. And some of you really ambitious stuff, really focused, really have a clear idea of what you want to do. And some of us not so much, and that's fine. That's why we're here, right? We're here to build community and figure this thing out together. Hey, Tiffany. So just want to give a quick shout out to the person who filled out the survey and said their goal is to capture the heart of a kingpin. Just know that I do not judge. Okay, there's no judgment here. If that is your writing goal or that's just your personal goal for 2019, I say have at it. And as they said in the Hunger Games, may the odds be forever in your favor. That's all I'm gonna say, because I don't want you judging me on my personal stuff. Okay, so I am Taiia S.M.A.R.T. Young. As you know, I am the face behind the page. And for everyone who still has difficulty pronouncing my name, just think Taiia rhymes with fire, rhymes with flat tire, desire, all those kinds of words. It's Taiia. Hey, Zay. And so I am the person who is passionate about helping newbie writers and newbie storytellers create influence, impact, and income. And we can't create influence, impact, and income if we do not set our writing goals, if we do not figure what we want to get out of 2019 with our work. And some of us are just like trying to finish up school, like Ashley and Zaylin, just trying to finish up school, just trying to get that bachelor's degree under, taken care of. And there's nothing wrong with that, because when you guys are finished, that's when you're going to work on, whatever book it is or blog you want to launch, all that good stuff. So do me a favor. If you agree that 2019 has to be your year for getting it done, whether it is a script, a blog, a memoir, some essays, just writing in your journal on a regular, because you really want to keep track and document your story, please hit the like button for me. Do me a favor and do that. And because we want to share with the rest of our Facebook family and people who may have some writing goals that they are trying to figure out and get just take care of business, right? That's what we're here to do. We're here to take care of business. Please go ahead and share this page with them share this video rather with them, either now or when it's done, so they can catch the replay later. And everyone who is watching the replay, watching the video, please go ahead and send your comments and your questions. I do go back and I answer them as when this is over. So, I have my notes. So I'm looking down at my notes. And how about we just put the glasses on so we can actually, I can see things now. Okay. So first, housekeeping. I want to give a shout out to the people who completed the survey. So thank you very much. You guys did that. I told you it was only going to take you 5 minutes. It wasn't going to be a lot for you to do. And I try to make them fun and simple so that you can get through them and I can get the good information that I need from you guys to find out what you're working on, where you want to be, what kind of classes you want, and all that kind of good stuff. So I want to say that the winners of the yeahwrite gear are Tawana Coleman, Ron Bullock, and Quelly Wright. So let me just put a link here for those winners so that whether they're going to join us live or come on and watch the video later, they can go online, pick out their gear, and let me know what they want, and I will happily get that off to them. I'll get that off to them ASAP. Okay, so let's just talk a little bit about the reasons why we can't get to what it is that we've been trying to get to, maybe since 2018, maybe since 2017. Somebody wrote in the survey that they had an idea for a movie they've been thinking about since 2010. Okay, so now we have 9 years of thinking about this movie. How do we move forward with our movie? If we are writing this movie, let's see, if it's a romantic comedy, if it's sci-fi, if we're launching our blog for do-it-yourself brides, if we're writing a memoir about how we grew up in a family of politicians and we ended up in politics, we really have to take a step back, I think, and look at the entire year. So that's one of the things that I first like to do. I like to look at the year. I like to look at what's going on in my life for that year. And some of us may know that we have big things coming up, like whether it's a celebration, whether it's a birthday party, anniversary party, it could be a surgery, it could be a change. We're moving to another state. We really have to think about what's going on in our personal lives, because don't try to act like those things don't affect what you're doing. They absolutely do. If you're about to have a baby, if you're about to get married, if you're about to get divorced, if you're just trying to hook up because you are lonely and you just would like to spend some time with somebody, all of these things are going to influence how often you're writing, when you're writing, and even if you feel, oh, well, almost lost the earring, and if you feel motivated to write. And you know how I feel about motivation. Like, it's not even about motivation. It's not about the muse. Sometimes you just have to sit, get your butt in the chair, sit down and produce something. Okay, so what I'm about to tell you, I did not create this. Okay, so this is not, I can't take credit for this at all, even though the acronym is S.M.A.R.T, and I am Taiia Smart Young. I just love the way that this kind of focuses our goals. So when you're taking into account the totality of your year, maybe some major things are happening. Maybe it's a shift at work, a promotion. Like I said, you could be getting married or divorced or having a baby, just different things and how they're going to influence your life, right? And then two, don't forget that we talked about our words for the year for last year. So I told you mine was abundance. I want to really feel abundance in everything that I do, from my professional to my personal. You guys mentioned that some of your words were propel, discipline, work, focus, finish, right? We want to finish. And I think that's the thing for us. I'm just going to scroll and see what's going on over here on the side. I want to make sure you guys finish. Hey, Mona. Hey, Mallory. Mallory says she has some technical difficulties, but I'm glad you're here. Hey, Jean. So remind me of some of your words that you chose. I know I've mentioned a few of them, but remind me of some of the words that you chose in terms of how you want your year to play out. And that doesn't even mean that it's, for your writing. It just means that the way you want to feel in 2019. Like I said, I want to feel abundant in my work, in my family. I want to just feel like I have so much and I have so much to share. So the first thing to do about this, looking at things through the SMART lens, let's understand that SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. Okay, let's break that down a little bit. And I have to give a shout out to Mallory here, because I told you last Facebook Live that Mallory really helped me get myself all the way together, because I said, Mallory, I really want to do a Facebook Live every week, but I can't just pop up every week with a new idea. I need to sit down and create these ideas. And Mallory and I had these long conversations. I probably monopolized too much of her time to figure out what I'm going to do for the first quarter. Now, my goal was really to map out the year, but I was like, you know what, let me just try to break this into a micro goal, and let me just get all of the Facebook Lives for the first quarter. And she really helped me to do that. And so the other thing was, when I originally sat down with Mallory, I had this laundry list of ideas. I want to do this. I want to get, I want to do IGTV. I want to blog all the time. And it was just like, I was doing too much. So I really had to sit with Mallory and get very specific. And I realized that some things didn't need to happen. They weren't going to happen on the level that I wanted them to happen on, right? There's certain standards that we have for our work and ourselves, and it just wasn't going to happen. And then there were things that just didn't need to happen, because I was like, that's not really tying into my overall goal. And so I freed myself from just overwhelming myself with things that I don't need to do. And then I narrowed it down to 3 specific goals for myself. So I challenge you to get specific. What is it? If you know that you're going to launch this DIY blog for brides, then you already have a specific goal. And I'm going to get to breaking down some things along with that. But I want you to, if you're just brainstorming and trying to figure out what it is that you want to do and work on and write for the year, I encourage you to have that brainstorm and narrow those 20 ideas down to just 1. Because what's going to happen is that if I had challenged myself to accomplish those 10 things that I had, those 10 ideas that I had to be on IGTV and blog all the time and show up on Instagram Live all the time, I would have small success all over the place, but I wouldn't have the major success that I'm looking for. So I chose, hey, I want to really grow my Facebook Live community, which is why I ask you guys to share the videos. So that's how, and thank you for the hearts and the loves and the thumbs up, because that's how I'm going to be able to grow the community, right? I deliver content to you. You guys either give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and then you share it with your community if you feel like it's good. And then we get more folks in here, and we're sharing all of we're holding each other accountable. We're getting assignments, and we're figuring out how to get published, because that's really our goal. Like, we want to get published. We want to sell our scripts. We want to do all of that. Okay, so now measurable, right? That's the M in SMART, measurable. How are you going to measure your results? So it could be week to week, it could be month to month, or it could be maybe quarter to quarter. So let's think about this. If you have, I know Ashley has a project where she's doing her girl power interviews. And so Ashley, one way that you can have measurable results is that if you say, okay, you know what? Every 3 weeks, I need to have at least 2 interviews done. So you're going ahead to book those interviews. You're going to get them on your calendar now, and then you're going to prepare for the interview, and then you're going to have the interview and transcribe and all of that. And so this is a way that you're saying, okay, I am meeting my goal. I want to have 10 interviews completed by, let's say you want to have 10 interviews completed by April. And so you need to figure out, based on your life and how things are going, and if you're finished with school and you have little ones and you have a hubby at home, you need to figure out, how am I going to have these 10 interviews happen? Because it's not just a matter of booking the 10 interviews. You have to prepare for them. You have to create the questions. You have to think about rescheduling if that person cancels. You have to think about, wait, is your little one sick? And do you need to cancel? Do you need to reschedule? So there's just a lot that comes along with saying, okay, I'm going to make this my goal. But think about how to measure your success, whether it's, like I said, from week to week, month to month, or quarter to quarter. Same thing goes if you're taking pictures and you need to set up photo shoots. Okay, am I doing this outside? Because if you're in New York City, it's cold and I'm not standing outside with you. But if you're in LA and it's warm, then then we can rock. Or if you're like my girl Shahara, right now she's in Bali. She sent me a picture from Bali, and she's on a swing, and I'm like, damn, that's a beautiful backdrop. Like, that would be the place to shoot the photos. So if you want to pay for my ticket and send me to Bali, please go ahead. I'm not going to stop you. Passport is current. Okay. Let's see. Achievable or attainable. That's the A in the SMART goals. So does my skill level fit this particular task? So I know someone here is thinking about writing a memoir. So I don't know what the person's skill level is, but it's like, is this something that I can actually achieve? Do I need, can I do it alone? Do I need a coach to help me get from just point A to point B? Maybe thinking about how to outline this memoir. What goes into a memoir? How do I tell my story? If my goal here is to show that I went through some struggles, but I came up on the other side. You guys know that I read the book by Ray Lee Hinton, and he was wrongfully imprisoned and on death row for all this time. And he had this amazing memoir. And it's like, the fact that he still has this triumphant spirit after they did him wrong and he spent almost 30 years on death row, that brother, no, that could not be tea. But if you have to think about, how are you going to tell this story? How are you going to go from maybe your beginnings in terms of how you, maybe the story is about you being in politics, and you're at politics at a local level, but your aspiration is to be on this national stage. You want to be a senator one day, and or a governor, or you aspire to be a president, and you really see this for yourself. Maybe you're telling that story in terms of how you are going to go about conquering these different political offices. So you have to be able to know that, does my skill level match what I'm going to do? Because you might need a writing coach, or you might start with just some beta readers, somebody that you can send pages to week after week, and they can give you honest feedback about, is this story really, do you really want to tell the story? Are you able to tell the story? Those are things that we have to do and be honest with ourselves, right? Okay. The R is realistic. And I talked about this a little bit already. Given what's going on in your life, is launching a DIY blog for brides the right thing to do? So let's say you're having surgery on your bunion, right? That little bunion, or maybe you got an extra toe, and it's time to take the extra toe off because it's cutting into your little lubricants. You just can't take it anymore. And you want that toe off, and you want that bunion going. If you're going to be sitting up for weeks, on end, you might have time to sit down and really get this blog off the ground. But if you're having some other kinds of major surgery, maybe you're having plastic surgery, maybe you're getting that Brazilian butt lift that you always wanted, because the booty's a little flat and you want to raise it up. No judgments, because I don't have a booty, I got the boobs. Are you going to be in a healthy state to even get to writing? You might be, because from what I understand, you can't sit for like about 6 weeks. So you need to lean over. You might just be leaning over typing. And if that's what you're going to do, have at it. But I just want you to be realistic about, this might not be the time to do it. You may need to, and if it's a more serious surgery, you may need to say to yourself, you know what, I'm going to need recovery time. So maybe I'm going to launch this project in Q4 versus Q1. The T stands for timely. The goal has to have a target date, a deadline, a launch date, anything that lets us know that this is the drop dead. Or when I worked at Girls Inc., the president used to call it the go to hell date, meaning it got to be done, or everything goes to hell, or you go to hell, right? So we need our go to hell date, which really keeps us, I think, accountable. So if you tell, let's say you're in real estate, and you tell your coworkers or potential clients that, yeah, you have this book that's coming out. It's going to go live on Amazon on April 15th. And they are looking for this book come April 15th. That is going to make you say, you know what, I need to be moving toward this, because the last thing you want to do is not have the product there come April 15th, because that will be embarrassment. That's how I operate. I usually tell somebody a date, tell them what I'm gonna do, and then I can't back out of it because it's already out there, and then I don't want to be embarrassed, right? So sometimes embarrassment for me is a great motivator. So you might say, you know what, I need an entire year to work on this memoir. I want to be done by December 1st. And it's actually going to launch in 2020. That's fine. Or you might say, September 1st is really my deadline to launch this DIY blog for brides, or to have my romantic comedy script written, to have my sci-fi script written, to have my adaptation of the ebook that I launched 4 years ago on Amazon. I want to do a movie version of it. I want to do a web series, whatever it is. You have now set a go to hell date, a target deadline, a launch deadline, so that it becomes real and you work toward it. One of the things for me is that I am a former managing editor. And so working in production, I was always obsessed with deadlines, because I had to have certain things done from week to week. So we still operate on what I call like 75% week, 100% week, blue lines week. So every week, stories and photographs had to be in a layout. They had to be copy edited. They had to be designed. So I knew all the steps that needed to happen for me to be able to make my date of going to the printer. So for me, the date that I need to always keep in mind is the date that I'm going to the printer. And then all the things that need to happen before I need to get to the printer, I have to keep track of and make sure that, hey, this goal is measurable, right? This goal is achievable. This goal is realistic. This goal has a timeline. It is timely because I have to make sure that it happens by a certain date. So I challenge you. I know someone in the group is working on a children's book. There are just a lot of pieces that you have to think about once you set your goal, once you put it through this lens of being specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. So the thing that I want you to do, I have my notes. The thing that I want you to do is think about all the little steps in between, because those little steps are now going to turn into your action steps. And I want you to break them down into manageable chunks so that you don't get overwhelmed, because that's what's going to happen once you look at, I need to get all of these interviews done, and I want to have this book available, and I want to self-publish it, and all these things that you want to do. So you might need to break it down. So for instance, I thought about the DIY blog. What would you need to do? First, we need to come up with a name. We may need to go ahead and get domain, right? We need to get a domain. We need to get hosting. We need to get an email service so we can capture those emails from people, because we don't just want people coming to our blog and leaving. We want those brides to sign up. We're going to give them free giveaways, whether it's a checklist, 10 things you need to do to have a wedding that only costs $5,000 or $7,000 or $200, whatever it is. You want to be able to capture those email addresses. Are you going to have original photos? Are you going to have photos from brides that have done these DIY weddings and they sent them to you? Are you going to go out and take photos? Do you have a photo service that you're now going to have a subscription service? You're going to have a subscription to, and you're going to pay monthly. Do you have the budget for that? You need to think about how often you're going to post. Are you posting weekly? Are you posting daily? How are you going to go about making sure that you post in a timely fashion? You might have to sit down and batch your content. So every week, if you're posting one blog, there may be a Saturday where you have to sit down and create those 4 blogs, queue them up in WordPress, and then walk away and then move on to the next bit of content that you need to do, right? So that's just one example. So I want you to think about that for whatever your project is. Just sit down, write down that one thing after you brainstorm, or remember the 20 ideas that you had that you wanted to make happen. Knock it down to one, and then put it through that SMART lens: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, timely. And then think about, what are all the things that I need to do to make this thing happen, and happen based on the timeline that I create, based on the things that are going on in my life. And as usual, I've said a lot. So let me just scroll over here and see what you guys are talking about before I get out of here. Jean says, work, got to get this done for myself this year. Mallory says, girl, they were good combos. You didn't take over my time. I'm glad, Mallory. I will be getting on your calendar again soon. I need that time to really talk through some more ideas that I have going on. Let's see. Anthony Ray Lee Hinton's memoir is called The Sun Does Shine. I believe that's the name of it. Anthony Ray Hinton, excuse me, I said Lee. It's not Lee. Anthony Ray Hinton. The book is called The Sun Does Shine. You guys, you have to get it. If you don't get it and read it, get it on Audible, because he is the one that's reading the story, and it is so powerful. You will definitely change your opinion about death row, because I know that I did. I really didn't have an opinion beforehand. I was like, you know what? If you deserve to die and you did a crime, then just go ahead and flip the switch. But after that, and I realized what happens to people on death row, I was like, nope, I don't believe that that's a proper punishment. Let's see. Mallory said I could use a kick in the rear to get in gear. We all do. And so I know that Tiffany and Jean, they have linked up to be accountability partners. I encourage you, this is our community, so I encourage you to find someone in the community to find as your accountability partner. I need an accountability partner. We can help each other and work on these things together. One of the last things that I'll say before I go is that I used to be in this writing group. We used to pay, I think it was like $125. I think there were 10 of us, and we were all working on different projects. And they were all obviously writing projects. Some people were just working on maybe essays that they were trying to get published. Someone was working on a book. Someone was working on their blog. But the fact that we had this community of people to meet with every week, and we had something to share with each other every week, and it was really informal, that helped me because I was able to share what I was working on, get feedback without the pressure of feeling like this is an instructor. These are my peers, and they're going to give me valuable feedback. So use this group for that. Definitely connect with me for that. When I sent the email reminding everybody about today's Facebook Live, at the very bottom in the PS, I said, if you want to book a creative clarity call, you can definitely jump on my calendar for 15 minutes, and I will give you private coaching, because you guys said you wanted that too. So I will give you private coaching, and we can talk about coming up with some clear, specific goals for you that go through that SMART lens that I just talked about. So let's see before I go. Oh, Jean also said, Ramona said she's going to call me. Definitely do that, Mona. Jean said, and a whole lot of moolah. Hey, that's what we're here for. Influence, impact, and income. Okay. I love all these things. You guys have a good rest of your week. Happy hump day. I will see you next week. Take care.